The legend awakens. Some cars are just transportation. Others are dreams on wheels. But a rare few transcend even that, becoming living, breathing expressions of passion and precision. The Maserati MCPURA is one of those rare few. Today, we take you beyond the spec sheets and into the soul of this Italian masterpiece. We'll discover its origins, its design philosophy, the painstaking craftsmanship behind every curve and seam, and what it feels like to command its power on open roads. This isn't just about a car, it's about emotion, heritage, and the timeless pursuit of perfection. Welcome to the world of Maserati. Welcome to the MCPURA. 1. The Maserati myth, a century of excellence. Here we explore the entire history of Maserati, setting the context for why the MCPURA is so meaningful. Start in 1914 Bologna, with the Maserati brothers and their workshop. The early years of handcrafting race cars for gentleman drivers. The 1930s dominance in racing with the Typo 26 and 8cm. Surviving wars, economic hardships, and yet delivering timeless cars like the A6 and the Quattroporte. The MC12 of the 2000s, reminding everyone Maserati still rules the track. How this rich DNA culminates in today's MCPURA, a car carrying over 100 years of emotion and engineering. 2. Dream to reality, conceiving the MCPURA. Every great car begins with an idea. This chapter dives into the boardroom discussions, sketches, and prototypes that led to the MCPURA. Maserati's goal, a car that reclaims its racing soul and modernizes it for the future. Interviews, or narrations, of designers and engineers describing their vision, combining speed, purity, and Italian character. Early clay models, wind tunnel testing, and key design breakthroughs. 3. Decoding the name, MCPURA. Why MCPURA? Detailed look at Maserati Corse, the brand's racing division. The significance of purity, referencing their commitment to unfiltered driving experience, honest materials, and authentic sound. Historical context of previous Maserati names, Bora, Ghibli, Quattroporte, and how MCPURA fits. 4. Sculpted by the wind, exterior design. One of the longest and richest chapters. Every curve of the MCPURA is functional yet beautiful. Discussion of proportions, airflow channels, underbody diffusers, and how they manage to make something aggressive yet elegant. Influences from Maserati's past designs, the MC12's low stance, the Alfieri concept's fluid lines. Daytime vs nighttime presence, how lighting defines its personality. 5. The beating heart, performance. Let's spend time appreciating what powers the MCPURA. Options: twin turbocharged V6 or V8. Hybrid? Output specs: horsepower, torque, 0 to 60 times. Focus on the engineering effort to make it sound like a proper Maserati despite emissions and turbos. Long segment on the sound, the crackles, the wail at redline, and why it stirs the soul. Driving dynamics, acceleration, braking, high-speed stability. 6. Luxury inside, the cabin. Step into the MCPURA's interior. Materials: Italian leather, Alcantara, carbon fiber, brushed metal. Handmade vs machine-made elements. The seats bolstered for track yet comfortable for grand touring. Tech features that remain discreet yet cutting-edge, screens, HUD, infotainment. How it smells and feels to sit inside, describing the sensory experience. 7. On the open road, driving the MCPURA. There are moments in life that stay with you forever. The first time you hear its engine turn over. The first time you slide behind the wheel and feel the seat hug you. And then, the first time you let the Maserati MCPURA stretch its legs on the open road. Driving this car isn't simply about speed or performance, it's about connection. A connection between you, the machine, and the road beneath your tires. This is what the MCPURA was built for, the first impressions. From the moment you grip the wheel, you can tell this is no ordinary car. The steering wheel, thick, leather-wrapped, with subtle carbon fiber inlays, feels alive in your hands. You press the pedal lightly, and the car surges forward eagerly, almost like it's been waiting for this moment longer than you have. The response is instant. Every movement of your foot, every turn of your wrist is met with precision and feedback. You exit the city, the narrow streets giving way to rolling countryside and twisting mountain passes. Here, the MCPURA comes into its own. In Corsa mode, the exhaust opens up, the suspension stiffens, and the car hunkers down. You feel every ripple of the tarmac beneath you, but never harshly. It communicates with you. The corners come fast, and you discover that the car loves to dance. With every bend, it feels like it's reading your mind, always composed, always urging you to go just a little faster. When the road straightens, you press down harder and the MCPURA roars. The twin-turbocharged engine wakes with a snarl, the tachometer needle climbing rapidly as you're pinned to the seat. The sound floods the cabin, mechanical, visceral, and pure. You glance at the speedometer and realize you're already traveling at speeds that would make your heart pound in anything else but here. It feels stable, secure, like it was made for this. When the road straightens, you press down harder and the MCPURA roars. The twin-turbocharged engine wakes with a snarl, the tachometer needle climbing rapidly as you're pinned to the seat. The sound floods the cabin, mechanical, visceral, and pure. You glance at the speedometer and realize you're already traveling at speeds that would make your heart pound in anything else but here. It feels stable, secure, like it was made for this. And then, as you crest a hill and see the sun setting over the horizon, you let off the throttle, just for a moment. You realize something profound. The MCPURA isn't only about how fast you can go. It's about how alive it makes you feel along the way. The sound of the engine echoing through the hills, the smell of warm leather and the Italian countryside, the way the car seems to breathe with you as you drive. This is the kind of driving that stays with you forever. On the open road, the Maserati MCPURA transforms from an object into an experience. Every mile reveals a little more of its character, equal parts fierce and graceful, aggressive yet elegant. It reminds you that driving is not just about arriving. It's about feeling. It's about connection. And here, between you and this magnificent machine, on these endless roads, passion truly meets precision. 8. Racing roots, motorsport DNA. To truly understand the Maserati MCPURA, you have to look beyond its polished bodywork and luxurious leather. Underneath all that beauty lies a warrior, a car with a pedigree forged on some of the toughest racetracks in history. This isn't just a sports car. It's the heir to Maserati's century-long racing legacy. Every curve, every component, every roar of its engine is steeped in motorsport DNA. Maserati's love affair with racing began not as a marketing ploy, but as a way of life. Back in the 1920s and 30s, the Maserati brothers built cars specifically to win races. The Typo 26, their first race car, crossed the finish line in 1926 at the Targa Florio, establishing Maserati as a name to fear on the track. From there, they competed and won in Grand Prix, endurance races, and even Formula One. They weren't just participants, they were champions. Racing wasn't just about glory, it was a laboratory. Every race taught Maserati engineers something new about balance, about materials, about aerodynamics, lessons that shaped the road cars they produced. Racing wasn't just about glory, it was a laboratory. Every race taught Maserati engineers something new about balance, about materials, about aerodynamics, lessons that shaped the road cars they produced. You see, for Maserati, racing wasn't separate from building sports cars. It was integral. Every road car they've ever made carries that knowledge, and the MCPURA is the latest and most advanced expression of it. One of the most influential cars in Maserati's racing story and a direct inspiration for the MCPURA was the MC12. Released in 2004, the MC12 was essentially a homologation special that allowed Maserati to compete in FIA GT racing. It dominated, winning multiple championships and solidifying Maserati's return to motorsport dominance. Its long, low silhouette, aggressive aerodynamics, and howling V12 left an indelible mark on car enthusiasts and on the design and philosophy of the MCPURA. So, how does this heritage manifest in the MCPURA? Everywhere you look. The lightweight materials, carbon fiber reinforced plastics, aluminum alloys were all pioneered in the crucible of racing. The underbody aerodynamics, diffusers, venturi tunnels come directly from the track. Even the suspension setup, double wishbones, adaptive dampers, is designed with motorsport-level responsiveness in mind. You can feel it when you corner. The car sticks to the road like it's on rails, yet remains fluid and graceful. Braking is equally impressive. Massive carbon ceramic discs clamped by race-derived calipers give you fade-free stopping power lap after lap. Even the tires were developed specifically for the MCPURA, offering extreme grip without sacrificing road manners. It's these seemingly small details that elevate the driving experience and root it firmly in Maserati's racing ethos. But why does it matter? Why does it matter that the MCPURA has this deep connection to motorsport? Because it's more than just numbers. It's about trust. When you push it to the limit, when the tires scream and the engine sings, you know the car won't let you down. You feel the generations of racing engineers whispering through the chassis, saying, "We've been here before. We know how to win." Maserati could have easily built another fast, comfortable GT car. But with the MCPURA, they've done something more. They've built a car that acknowledges where it came from: the dirt tracks of Sicily, the asphalt of Monza, the glamour of Le Mans, while looking confidently toward the future. It's a car that says, "We remember who we are." Racing is in Maserati's blood, and through the MCPURA, it courses through yours as well. Every time you take it out, you're not just driving a car, you're participating in over a century of victories, near misses, and glorious comebacks. The MCPURA is more than a sports car, it's Maserati's promise to never stop chasing the thrill of competition. 9. Masterpieces in motion, the factory. The Maserati MCPURA is more than a car. It is a masterpiece born in the heart of Modena, Italy, a place where history, craftsmanship, and cutting-edge technology converge. To truly appreciate this creation, you must step inside the Maserati factory, where the MCPURA is meticulously brought to life, piece by piece, by artisans who treat their work as an art form. Here, you can feel the weight of over a century of tradition and innovation in every corner of the facility. As you enter the factory floor, the first thing you notice is the quiet intensity of the atmosphere. It is not loud or chaotic as you might expect in a modern assembly plant. Instead, it is calm, focused, almost reverent. Workers move with purpose but without haste, every motion deliberate. These are not just employees, they are craftsmen and women, many of whom have dedicated decades to building Maseratis, some even following in the footsteps of their parents and grandparents. You can see the pride in their eyes as they carefully align panels, stitch leather, and polish components to perfection. The MCPURA's journey begins in the chassis workshop. Here, its lightweight skeleton, made from a combination of high-strength steel, aluminum, and carbon fiber, is welded and bonded together. The precision is astounding. Robotic arms assist with some of the welding, but much of the fitting and finishing is done by hand. Every weld, every seam is inspected thoroughly, not just for strength but for beauty. Even parts of the car that no customer will ever see are treated with the same attention to detail. Because to Maserati, excellence is not just what you can see, it's what you can feel. Next comes the paint shop, a cathedral of color where the MCPURA begins to take on its personality. The colors themselves are inspired by the landscapes and spirit of Italy: deep ocean blues reminiscent of the Amalfi Coast, fiery reds evoking the passion of Italian racing, subtle silvers and grays that echo the marble of Roman architecture. The painting process is as much art as it is science. Multiple coats are applied, sanded, and polished between layers to create a depth and luster that seems to glow from within. Inspectors run their hands along the bodywork and peer at every surface under intense lights, searching for even the tiniest imperfection. Only when it is flawless does the car move on. From there, the MCPURA enters the assembly hall, where it slowly takes shape. Engines built separately and tested before arrival are carefully lowered into the chassis. This is no hurried process. Here, precision outweighs speed. Each engine mount is checked and double-checked. The suspension components are fitted by hand, aligned to exacting specifications. Massive carbon ceramic brakes are installed, each caliper torqued to perfection. There is a kind of quiet choreography to the process, as if everyone knows exactly when and where to move, their movements as seamless as a well-rehearsed dance. Perhaps the most mesmerizing part of the journey is the interior workshop. Here, the soul of the car is truly revealed. Rolls of the finest Italian leather selected, cut, and dyed specifically for each car are laid out and inspected by hand. Craftsmen stitch the seats, dashboards, and door panels with precision that borders on obsession. Even the thread used to sew the seams is chosen carefully, not just for strength, but for how it complements the colors of the leather and the car's overall personality. Alcantara, brushed aluminum, and carbon fiber accents are added with the same level of care. The scent of the material's leather mingled with a faint tang of metal fills the air, a sensory reminder of the luxury being created. Once fully assembled, the MCPURA enters the testing phase, but even here, the process is as much about feel as it is about numbers. Every car is driven on Maserati's private test track by experienced drivers who listen for the perfect sound, feel for the perfect steering response, and ensure the engine delivers the emotional punch Maserati promises. Only after it passes this exhaustive scrutiny is it deemed worthy of wearing the Trident emblem and delivered to its owner. Walking through the Maserati factory and watching the MCPURA come to life is like watching a symphony being performed. Every craftsman is an instrument, every action a note, all coming together to create a masterpiece of passion and precision. In a world increasingly dominated by automation and mass production, the MCPURA reminds us what can be achieved when human hands and hearts are still involved in creation. It is a product of both heritage and modernity, a bridge between the past and the future, and every detail of its birth speaks to that philosophy. This is why the MCPURA is more than just a car. It is the culmination of thousands of hours of dedication, skill, and pride. It is the result of generations of knowledge passed down through families, infused into every stitch, every panel, every bolt. To own one is to own a piece of Modena's soul. To drive one is to feel the heartbeat of everyone who built it echoing through the wheel, reminding you that this is not just a machine, it is a living work of art. 10. The sound of Maserati, a mechanical symphony. Long before you see it, you hear it. That unmistakable growl, deep, resonant, alive, that announces the arrival of the Maserati MCPURA even before it rounds the corner. Some cars are fast. Some are beautiful. But very few sound like this. The MCPURA's voice is its soul, and it's one of the most defining aspects of its character. Automotive sound is not just noise. For Maserati, it is music. It is a carefully composed symphony of mechanical parts and deliberate tuning that has been perfected over decades. In an era when many performance cars are quieted by regulations or masked by artificial speaker-fed sounds, Maserati refuses to compromise. The MCPURA's exhaust is real. Raw. Honest. Every burble, crackle, and scream is the result of engineering brilliance, and just a touch of Italian drama. Start the engine, and the MCPURA awakens with a throaty rumble that resonates through the cabin. You feel it as much as you hear it, a vibration through the seat and steering wheel that reminds you this machine is alive. At idle, it has a restrained growl, muscular but civilized, like a predator crouching in the shadows. But touch the throttle and it immediately responds, the pitch rising, the volume swelling, the mechanical chorus filling the air. When you drive it hard, the sound transforms. In lower RPMs, it has a deep, rich tone, masculine and powerful. As you climb toward redline, it sharpens, becoming more urgent and feral, like a tenor reaching a crescendo. Every gear change is punctuated by a bark, a crackle on overrun, and a satisfying pop on downshifts. These aren't artificial gimmicks, they're the natural consequence of a perfectly tuned engine and exhaust system working in harmony. To achieve this, Maserati's engineers spent countless hours not only in laboratories but also on real roads and tracks, fine-tuning the resonance chambers, the exhaust routing, and the valving. They experimented with materials, lengths, and diameters to find the balance between raw aggression and refined elegance. Their goal was not just to create volume, but to craft a sound with depth and character, something instantly recognizable as Maserati. It isn't just what you hear outside, either. Inside the cabin, the sound is carefully managed to create an immersive experience without being overwhelming. You're insulated from wind and tire noise, but the engine's heartbeat is always there, just loud enough to remind you that you're at the helm of something extraordinary. And then there are those moments, tunnels, underpasses, city streets at night, when the MCPURA's voice becomes truly intoxicating. Drivers often find themselves slowing down just to downshift and hear it sing one more time. In these moments, the car feels alive in a way that no sterile, muted machine ever could. Why does sound matter so much? Because driving is not just about speed or numbers, it's about emotion. And nothing stirs the soul like a car that speaks to you through its sound. The MCPURA understands this, and delivers a soundtrack that is every bit as captivating as its performance and design. It's not just noise. It's a story. A story of combustion, of heritage, of defiance in the face of silence. It is the sound of Modena, of Italy, of Maserati. And long after you've parked the car and turned off the ignition, that sound lingers echoing in your memory, calling you back for one more drive. And so, we arrive at the end of our journey through the Maserati MCPURA, a car that transcends mere transportation to become a rolling work of art, a living testament to what happens when passion meets precision. It is not just about how fast it accelerates, how precisely it corners, or even how beautiful it looks, though it does all those things brilliantly. It is about how it makes you feel. Every detail, from the sculpted bodywork to the hand-stitched leather, from the roar of its engine to the confidence it inspires on every road, is designed to awaken something inside you. The MCPURA carries within it the soul of Maserati's century-long legacy, honed and refined for the modern era. It reminds us that cars can still have character, that they can still ignite emotion and connect us to something greater than ourselves. In a world increasingly filled with silent, soulless machines, the MCPURA stands apart not just as a car, but as a promise that driving will always be more than just moving from one place to another. It will always be about the experience. So whether you're carving through mountain passes, gliding down coastal highways, or simply admiring it at rest, the MCPURA offers you more than just a drive. It offers you a story, a feeling, a memory. This is Maserati at its finest. This is where passion meets precision. Thank you for joining us on this journey. If you enjoyed this story of Italian mastery, don't forget to like this video, subscribe for more automotive legends, and share it with fellow enthusiasts who understand that driving is an art. Until next time, keep chasing the road where passion meets precision.